Hello and welcome back to my personal play for Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. My name is Incarnate, and in this first section I decided to play this super aggressive. You have about 800 health slash defense, whatever you want to call it, with this machine that you're on, and I decided to go ahead and use it to kind of just get to the second part of this chapter. There's basically 3 movements to this chapter. This is obviously the first one, and I said, you know what, if I'm super aggressive and I can just make it to the alley, get past this first section fairly quick, I think that's going to be the best use of my time on this machine. I've actually never played this chapter out with the machine. I don't know if you can actually get through the entire chapter with this thing, like if you're good enough with it, because like I said, in my practice run I did this, and then this is obviously my second run at the game, and I'm doing it again. I don't know if the game would kick you off of this at some point off the machine. I know sometimes in games you'll have something like this that the game will give you, and then there's a like a specific spot in the chapter where you lose it. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments if that's a thing. I know there's a warehouse coming up, and I don't know, well, I guess you could fit in that warehouse, so maybe you could keep it through the warehouse too. And in fact, that actually would be a good play if you could, because it's very linear through there, so all you'd have to do is just run with that machine and just nuke everybody with fire. But I'm actually not sure if that's a thing or not. I think if I played this game a third time, I would try that as part of my strategy. There's me just kind of baiting that diesel enemy to look the other way so I can hit him with that shotgun madness. I do love the shotguns in this game. It's one of my favorite weapons. Oh, okay, I remember this now. So this is actually the part of the game where I use a lot of these refilling stations. You guys know at this particular part of the game you can have this gun that I have right now, the sticky bomb gun or grenade gun or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what the game calls it, guys. You know, if you've been following this commentary, that I don't even I've never been in the menus, so I don't even know like what this gun is called or any of the upgrades it can have or anything like that. I call it my sticky bomb gun or grenade gun, but I know you can also have the laser gun. It shoots laser beams, and I'm pretty sure it's a one-hit kill on most of the stuff in the game. And I think these refilling stations, I don't know if they would be, I think there might be one behind me right now or to my left that's a laser station, I believe. In other words, I don't know if this fueling station is replaced by a laser station where you can refill that laser gun, but I want to say that kind of behind me on that wall is a laser refueling station. So it might just be that I chose the right gun through here, because I know there's a lot of these gas refueling stations where you can get more of your more of those grenades. And now I'm just gonna come through here with my, yeah, see it right there on the wall straight ahead? I think that's a laser refueling station. So, but I know there's a lot of those gas refueling stations in here. So like I said, I think I chose the right gun for this area. I do want to talk about this section and the next section, the last 2 sections of this episode. And I think even the last part of this, I end up time-lapsing a bit, because I think you get the picture that really all I'm doing is standing in one spot or one area, and the enemies are coming to me. And I've read a lot of people's thoughts about this game online. I've watched a lot of people's videos, and people are saying this game is very hard, and it is tricky, guys. But like I've said in most of the games that I cover, and you've heard this before in other videos, it's not ever as hard as you think it is. You just have to think smart. You have to use that old noggin you got. You know what I mean? Try to use that noggin for a little bit. This idea where, you know, you have to get good. Everybody says get good in the comments, right? You're just overthinking a problem, right? We've talked about this in previous episodes. 2 + 2 is always 4. There's no need to complicate that. And when you're dealing with a video game, it's just a problem wrapped up in nice shiny graphics and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's a problem that you need to solve as a player. And yes, you could go in here and practice and run and gun and, you know, do your thing and jump around, and you've seen me do that in previous episodes of this series as well. It can be done. Or you just think about it on a very simple level, and you just don't complicate it. And that's what you're seeing me do right here. I'm literally just standing in one area, letting the enemies come to me. They're bringing me ammo. Even though the ammo's up there around that corner, that's where I'm going next. I pick up all the ammo, pick up all the health and the defense, and do all that stuff, and set up for the next run at this episode, right? And that's what I wanted to showcase when I was thinking about how I wanted to put this run together, how I wanted to showcase this game. I said I want to be aggressive in a lot of these places, and I also want to be passive. I want to show people that you can play this game however you want to. and it works. No, it doesn't matter if you're playing aggressive or playing passive. The game is still quite easy when you understand what's actually happening with this game. You know what I mean? With the AI. And that leads me to my topic. I really do wish that developers would learn to program their AI to not be so aggressive. Just because you're ramping up the difficulty to hard or apocalyptic or whatever that last, I am death incarnate, whatever your difficulties are, right? You don't need to necessarily make your enemy AI aggressive. A lot of you subscribe to my channel because you watch my Uncharted crushing difficulty walkthroughs, right? Now this is not necessarily a walkthrough one I'm showing you here. It's kind of a hybrid between me playing the game the way that I want to and kind of a walkthrough. But you get my point. When I did my Uncharted crushing difficulty walkthroughs, I showcased stuff like this. Now granted, that's not a first person shooter. It does have a cover system. This one doesn't necessarily. I mean, I guess it kind of does because you have that lean mechanic you can use, but it's not third person. It's a completely different feel. But the process that I'm showing you right here is the same process that I use in Uncharted. You literally find an area or a piece of cover, depending on the game you're playing. You stand in one spot and the enemies just come to you. Because as intelligent as these developers think they've made their AI, it's only intelligent when you are in a specific spot on the map. Then it seems like, oh my God, these enemies are just pegging me away. They're just killing me. They're just tossing grenades at me. They know exactly where I am and they just murder me, right? And you'll sit there in the same area for like an hour dying over and over and over and over and over again because you're where the developers want you to be. You're inside of their kill box, right? And by being inside of that kill box, that's what makes it difficult. And as long as you're playing by the developers' rules, then them programming the AI to be aggressive, well, that's what creates the complications. You see what I'm saying? But like I've said in previous episodes of this series, 2 + 2 is always 4. There's no need to overcomplicate that. You know what I mean? That's very basic math. It's stuff we learn when we're kids. There's no need to make that more complicated than what it actually is. And at the end of the day, when you realize that you got all these millions of dollars being pumped into these studios, right? And their job is to create a problem for you as a player. It's a problem that you're supposed to have to solve, right? And they want it to be, based on the level of difficulty, they want it to be very difficult or easy or whatever, whichever one you've chosen, right? All you're doing is adjusting the level of the problem. When you up the difficulty, you're telling the developers, I want to solve the same problem that I solved on easy. I just want it to be a little bit more complicated, right? And in a perfect world, I wish it was complicated. I wish that the only way that I could play it was to quote unquote get good, as people will say in the comments of videos all the time, right? But that's just not the case. What you got to understand is that when you're playing a game on easy difficulty, it's still 2 + 2 = 4. It's just easy. But when you play it on hard, it can still be 2 + 2 = 4. There's no need for it to jump into algebra and geometry. You know what I mean? It's still the same game, same enemies. The only thing that typically changes is the fact that you take more damage, or it's a one-hit kill, or maybe you do less damage. In other words, they just play with the parameters of the problem. But you have to understand fundamentally how these games are made. Like I said, if you're inside their kill box, they have the advantage. But if you do what I'm doing right now, if you know that you're dealing with a game that, once you set it to the higher difficulties, has programmed their enemy AI to be super aggressive, this, what I'm showing you right here, 99% of the time will work. It works like a charm. And like I said, if you look at all my hard difficulty runs I put up on this channel, when I'm teaching you guys pure strategy, like I said, this series is more of a hybrid of both, me just playing the game for fun and teaching strategy. But if you watch one of my strategy runs of the game, like Uncharted, this is what we do. We post up, we let the aggressive AI come to us, and then we kill them. And then when we're out of ammo and we catch a lull in the action, we walk out, we grab their ammo that they just brought to us like they're freaking UPS, right? And then we just kill them again. And that is how you get through these difficult games in most cases. And it sucks that you can do that. It sucks. And like I said, this series was designed to show you guys kind of how I would play if I wasn't trying to think about doing a strategy guide, and then also to add those elements in there too, because I know a lot of you guys like to watch me put strategies to games. But it's a shame that developers can't understand that. And I honestly wish I could beta test some of these games. I really do, because I think that I could actually help these people come up with a game that's actually hard. And what I mean by actually hard is that you actually have to become a better player to get through it. But in these situations, you don't. You just don't. I want a game to when I put it on the hardest difficulty, I want to know for a fact that I'm going to have to make my skill better to get through that game. The problem is, it's just not that way. I remember when I played Cuphead, I was like, okay, I wonder how this is going to be when I put it on the hardest difficulty, right? I wonder if there's going to be that cheese spot I can get in, maybe behind the enemy where none of his bullets can hit me, but I can hit him. And I found a couple of those spots in some of the fights, but it wasn't ironclad. There was still a lot of randomness to it. And I actually had to become a better gamer to get through Cuphead. But with a game like this, you do not actually have to become a better gamer. You just have to know a couple of rules, how these games are made, how the AI works, and you have absolute domination over the enemy, an absolute advantage. And I just wish it were different. I wish that developers would learn to just, like right now, if all the enemies just stayed in the tunnels, stayed behind cover, and forced me to come to them, that would be a whole lot tougher than what it is right now. Now, when you're playing this game kind of leisurely, you're not really trying to think about a video game like a problem, which is what I do. That's what you would do. You'd run out there in the open, you'd try to run and gun, and you would die a bunch. Let's just be real. Right, you would die a lot. But with me, because I understand that, even on my blind run at this game, when I finally clued in on the fact, oh, this is how the AI works, I was going through some of these sections on my very first run of the game the same way that you're seeing me go through them now. It was very easy. It was very second nature to me. And if Naughty Dog came out with another Uncharted game tomorrow, I already know how the AI is programmed, unless they decide to switch things up, which they probably wouldn't. And I could get through those difficult, the harder difficulties in those games just as easy as we got through some of them in my previous guides. Does that make sense? So I just wish that developers would understand that concept. Make me come to your enemies. That's how you should be programming your AI. Make it difficult for me. And I think that would make for a much better gaming experience and would force all of us to actually up our skill. But this idea that we have to get good, we have to overcomplicate a problem that's fairly simple, I don't buy into that. If it's simple, I'm going to treat it like it's simple. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Thanks to all my patrons who support me over on patreon.com. If you guys would like to support me, check the links in the description below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Be good.